Hi, this is David from PDTV. I'm in Tacoma at the Jet City Comic Show with the one and only Michael Berryman. How you doing today?
I'm doing great this morning in Tacoma. All you out there, and is this radio, TV, or
This is
internet land?
Yes, yes, YouTube channel.
All right, walk away from the computer and get here right now. I will time you. Jet
Yeah.
City Comic Con.
Yeah, you better get here or he's gonna take care of business. Yeah. Okay. So my first question is, can you tell us how it became about to get the your iconic character of Pluto in The Hills Have Eyes?
Yeah, absolutely. I got a phone call from my agent, and he says, go meet this guy named Peter Locke and Wes Craven and Barry Kahn. And I did. Read the script. It was a really interesting script, and they said, well, come on out to the desert with us, and we're going to make this little movie. We have, not much of a budget, but we're going to have a lot of fun. And we did. Wes and Peter, a lot of fun. Wes especially, very, very sharp guy, knows how to tell a tight story. And we just went out and made it as real as possible.
Yeah, it turned out like really great. It's one of your best roles. I understand that you're before you went into acting that you were a florist. Is that true?
No, not everything on the internet is googly correct. Actually, I had a very dear friend on Camano Island. His house burnt down in the early 70s. So I drove up and helped him rebuild it. So I believe in karma. So I helped my friend rebuild his house. I came back to California, my hometown in Santa Monica, Dogtown. We invented the skateboard. Actually, what happened was I went into business with a friend of mine. We rented a little tiny arty-farty little shop, and we sold house plants. That's where the florist thing comes from. No, we sold, if you were an artist and you had something to put on the wall, we'd put it on the wall, take a commission. Needless to say, 6 months later, we couldn't pay our rent, our lease, so we were out of business. But while I was in Venice, California, I happened to have a gentleman walk into my store, and he did one of these numbers. And he says, "Are you an actor?" And I go, "No." "And why are you doing this?" He says, "You have an interesting face." And I go, "Okay." And then he handed me a business card, and it said Warner Brothers Studios, George Powell. And I said, "Oh my God, do you know who you are?" And he said, "Please just stay calm. Please be in my movie. I'll get you into the Screen Actors Guild." And it's a 2-day job, and it's called Doc Savage, the Man of Bronze, based on the books. So I did, and I played the coroner, Juan Jose Morales. "I am the coroner of Hidalgo. There is something very suspicious about your father's death. I cannot quite identify it." So Doc Savage does what he does, and I figured that would be it. I had a degree in art. I still have a degree in art history, but I figured, all right, that was weird. What am I going to do next? I had no idea. I got a phone call, and it was from Michael Douglas's office for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, because George Powell got me my break, but he also had a casting director that was casting for another movie, which was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. So I had a meeting with him and Jack Nicholson and Milos Forman and Saul Zaentz, and they put me in this movie. And after about 4 months of working on this wonderful film that won quite a few Oscars, I had amassed a lot of knowledge because I asked a lot of questions. They had handpicked the best people in the business, and it was a wonderful experience. And my third movie was The Hills Have Eyes, so I owe everything to George Powell.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? The One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, working with Jack Nicholson and like Danny DeVito and.
Well, Christopher Lloyd was incredibly in really good shape, because when some of the fight sequences where, they're trying to drag him off. He's a rough and tumble guy, a really nice guy. Jack Nicholson, we're all family, number one. Jack told me that if he had my height, he would be an NBA star because he loves the game. It was funny. Jack is just a really honest, straight-up guy. I love him dearly. We were having our lobotomy scars put on one morning by Fred Phillips, the father of Spock. Fred Phillips' father started the Makeup Artists Union. And I did my lobotomy scars every morning. Jack had to have them done for the one day. And I remember when Fred Phillips was trimming some of Jack's hair, just a few hairs, Jack, and Jack goes, "Fred, they'll grow back, won't they?" So I gave Jack a hard time over that, and I go, oh, you big crybaby, don't worry about it. And Louise Fletcher, lovely, lovely. Everybody, it was like family. We actually filmed at Oregon State Hospital in Salem. That was the real doctor, Dr. Spivey. That was the real doctor. I think it was Jones. He passed away recently. We actually had time to spend with real patients to understand what it was really like to be in a mental hospital. And the humanity that is in that story and the quality of how well it was crafted, you very rarely find these days.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful experience. Changed my life.
Oh yeah, and it's just one of those movies that you can watch over and over, and it's just still plucks at your heartstrings and stuff like that.
Yes, it has everything. It has everything. Humor. I mean, the boat. Now, I had someone come up to my table at a convention a few weeks ago, and they said, in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, when they have the aerial shot and you see the boat just going around and around in circles, could that be an artistic comment about the revolving door, or the fact that these people in society, now they're in a hospital, will never get out? It's just you wake up, they give you your pills, because I'm a big believer in real medicine. I'm a big believer in that everyone should be able to go see a doctor and get care. I come from 5 generations of doctors and nurses. My father was a renowned brain surgeon, Sloan Berryman, and I said, "Wow, what a brilliant observation!" Yes, that's exactly what it represented. Because you can tell a story, you can push buttons, make you do things, make you feel things, but the better art seeps to deeper levels.
Yeah, totally. So, is there a favorite character of yours from your movies that you wanna talk about?
Yes, on the comedic side, I'm very pleased with Smoking in the Boys' Room, Motley Crue's video, where I play the principal. Jimmy, congratulations. A dog didn't eat your homework, you get an A. It was very funny because I got to do my ear wiggle.
That's pretty hard for a lot of us to do.
But it just takes practice. So on the funny side, I've been on Keenan and Kel, Alf, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And then on the more serious side, one of my favorite roles of all time is Owen Jarvis, the guardian angel for the young boy in the X-Files, Season 3, Revelations. To play against type is delightful, and to have a character that has some layering. Below Zero with Eddie Furlong, a film I did in Canada about 4 years ago. Gunner, very, very, very good character. A lot of layers. I don't like veneer, just scratch the surface and there's nothing more to the character. I like to build my character from the bones up, put some flesh on it. I am not a big fan of splatter, torture porn, or any of that. Some of my mentors are Josh Whedon, Gene Roddenberry, and a gentleman who I actually met and spoke with for about an hour one night at 31 Flavors and Ice Cream Parlor after a live taping of The Twilight Zone, Rod Serling. So we're here at the convention center with people that have imagination, and the best thing about imagination and the arts, to me, is that it brings out the humanity and our common ground. And I think that's what's so very important, to teach our children.
Yeah, that's a shame that, speaking of your different roles, I recently read that you did have several parts in The Crow with Brandon Lee, and you were saying earlier that you're good friends with him. It's a shame because I really love that film, and it's a shame that your parts were taken from the theatrical release.
Well, what had happened when Brandon Lee and his father are their memorial is just up the road here. We became very good friends on the set of The Crow. We had a lot of scenes, but there was still the 3 confrontations when Eric Draven is confronted by the Skull Cowboy, and I explained to him how his soul can be reunited with his beloved, etc. James O'Barr is a very dear friend. I can't see any of the remakes. There is conversation of maybe a redo. I don't know. If they do it like the original story, James has told me that's the only way he would agree.
Yeah.
And I would hope that I could bring the Skull Cowboy back to life. Brandon was shot 2 days before I was to fly out, and for 2 weeks it was just going to be Brandon and I doing those 3 scenes.
Yeah.
So I'll just say this: I miss you, my brother, and also safety on the set. Anyone in this industry, safety, I don't care what you do for a living, but in the arts and what we do in our business, filmmaking, safety is very important. If you don't think that's clear, ask Greg Allman and what happened to the poor young lady in Midnight Rider. Google it. This is a perfect example of how if you cut corners and save money, people die. It's really that important. So safety on the set, and even if you're an AD, you have the right to say cut if you don't think it's safe. No one will blacklist you. I've lost too many dear friends over the years because production thought that they could, let's bust the unions, let's, downsize everything. And you know what? Our legacy in film and television, the reason that I'm in my union is because I'm honoring the time when there was no union. And a lot of our favorite TV and film stars from early days died in old folks' homes. That's why we had the motion picture home for the old actors. That's why collective bargaining and why it's important to unions came about for a reason. Yeah. So, are your dues paid?
Okay. Let's see here. I'm sorry.
I love to ramble.
If you weren't making movies, is there another profession that you would like to partake in?
Yes. I would like to win the lottery and be an excellent philanthropist like my dear friend Paul Newman and others. I believe that's the only reason to be wealthy, is to give back, to make the world a better place for our children and our children's future. I would probably be working with Mr. Branson and others that actually feel that our earth is precious and should not be turned into basically a dumping ground. I've lived and worked with a wolf sanctuary for over 25 years. Habitat preservation is very important. Those are the areas that are very important to me, keeping children and mothers safe. I have friends that have safe houses all over the Northern Hemisphere. I'm a huge advocate for education. And probably if I only had one wish, it would be that we could stand down forever. War for profit is a sin, and the day that we can bring all our troops home and they can spend quality time with their family, that's the day that I'll feel that we are stepping in the right direction. God bless you all.
Yeah. Okay, and then the final question, can you talk about some upcoming projects you have going on?
Well, there is a very strong rumor that I will be a guest actor in Z Nation. Season 2 is starting up. I believe they're filming in Spokane. My dear friend Bill Moseley had a nice guest spot. Unfortunately, he fell off of a building and landed hard, but I'm really liking what I see in that. The writing's getting better and better. The characters are really becoming defined, and I'm looking forward to that. And I'm also working on my autobiography.
Oh, that's great. How is that like with actors? How does that? It's kind of funny. Like sometimes do you hear rumors about yourself and you're like, well, I wasn't contacted yet.
Happens all the time. You can go to IMDb. There's always projects that are old projects that aren't funded or ones that I haven't even had a conversation with my manager about. But it's good to not be ignored. Yeah. And I love what I do. And I get to travel, and I'm a foodie. I like to go to local restaurants. I've been in Louisiana with Robert Schneider from Dukes of Hazzard, and I found a little place in Lafayette, Louisiana that had the best barbecue ever. It's such a shack out in the middle of nowhere, and oh my God, yeah. I watch Food Channel.
Yeah, I think if you just stay positive and just be kind to everybody, even in the Hollywood business, like I think just roles will just keep coming in, just like they are for you, right?
They do. I have a very strong work ethic, and I understand what the camera does. I asked a lot of questions when I did Cuckoo's Nest, and when somebody, they put the marks down there, and you understand what the lens does. If you're in film, understand what the lens does. Milos Forman walked me up to in front of our 35 millimeter Panavision camera, and we had carbon arc lighting. If you're involved in film at all, you should know what that means. Know what an f-stop is, know what your marks are. And he told me the best advice. He said, do you see the glass? I go, yes, Milos. He said, I want you to have a love affair with the lens. If you can do that and know your lines and work well with others, you'll have a lovely career. And, if anybody ever asks you to do something that you don't think is safe or it's questionable, you do have the right to speak up and have a conversation.
Okay, I want to thank you again, Mr. Berryman.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much. This is Dave from PDTV.
Can we keep this between us? I'd hate to lose my teaching job.